My name's Malcolm, and I've come today to describe some events around Taliesin's ceremony of placing the ashes in a Buddhist stupa down in the Colston Valley here in Oregon, Tibetan Buddhist temple. I'd gone out to the Colston Valley to for a party. I think it was an apple cider party. So we were crushing out apples, and it was a beautiful, cool day in the valley, and on a beautiful property that sits in the cradle of the Siskiyou Mountains and the Cascades, and I saw Asha there, and we had a conversation, and she was telling me that she was going to place Taliesin's ashes at the stupa, and I was really pleased about that. It was a very emotional kind of interaction with her, and knowing, the sentimentality around Taliesin, and I'd maybe it was 2 years prior, maybe it was 3. I don't know how long ago. Time's kind of lost me, but the stupa that the ceremony was taking place came from Indonesia. It was a 3-piece single, like 3-piece, but carved in 3 pieces of black lava rock, and it had made its journey from Indonesia to the Colston Valley, and I was tasked with erecting it, putting all the pieces together, and it turned up on a big semi-truck, and so that day was spent rigging it up with a crane and placing it on a foundation that I'd previously built for the stupa, and putting the pieces together. So I had some connection to this stupa, years prior. So when Asha told me she was going to place Taliesin's ashes, I had a real sense of, like, it's a beautiful thing, and I thought that the ceremony would be a very auspicious event, given the stupa representing enlightened mind. So Asha left, and I hung out at the apple party, crushing up apples, and eventually it was just time to go. So I was driving out with my wife, and we drove down the dirt road that goes past the temple, and I could see there was some weather around, and the clouds had gathered around the hillside, the mountains, and I suspected there would be a rainbow somewhere. And so, wanting to enjoy a beautiful rainbow in the landscape, I drove up some of the back roads that lead up to the temple, up the hill from the stupa, and sure enough, there was this brilliant, bright rainbow that was arcing over creating a canopy over the temple, and sat up on the hill and was just enjoying the beauty of the rainbow, knowing that Taliesin's ceremony was going on, and snapped a few photos of it, and also just connecting with the beauty of the ceremony and the meaning of that for Asha and Taliesin and the community, and having a real sense of reflection that this rainbow appearing in the interdependence of time was very auspicious. I studied Tibetan Buddhism at that temple for 20 years, and the lineages there is called the Nyingmapa sect of Tibetan Buddhism, ancient lineage from 8 AD, and the path of the Nyingmapa path of Buddhism culminates. It starts with the foundations of renunciation from suffering, and culminates in the liberation to enlightenment, and then specifically in that lineage, the accomplishment of the rainbow body, the transference into the rainbow light body. So the coming together of that, rainbows are always auspicious within that lineage, and are often considered signs of accomplishment, or that a great being has passed. So yeah, that was really one of the signs to observe and take it in and enjoy, and knowing Taliesin's story, and that the ceremony was taking place was a beautiful thing to observe. I think that knowing Taliesin's act before his death, and knowing the tradition of the spiritual path of enlightenment, having some instruction on that from Tibetan masters, I had a really strong sense of compassion towards Taliesin and his family, the compassion towards the entire event of Taliesin's passing, but also just a recognition of that there's profound individuals amongst us. I think really it was really a recognition. Like, I had this very profound recognition of that it was very significant. Yeah, and there was Taliesin's ceremony, so there was I just had this sense of the moment, and that I wanted to capture that. And when I come across the scene, the rainbow was a canopy over the temple, stretching back up into the mountains further than what the picture shows, but the end landing where the stupa was. So I just knew that was needed to be captured, and it's really hard to sort of like understand, like, because some way it was premeditated, but at the same time the conditions were come together for all that, and in the moment I was aware of all those things coming together, and that I wanted to capture it, and just had my iPhone. So as far as the composition of the photo was kind of already there in front of me. I just had to press the button. Yeah, just the knowing that those conditions were together, and that I could go up and find a location to capture that. Wasn't exactly knowing the position of things, but as it turned out, it was even better than I was expecting. I knew there was a lot of weather, there was sun poking through, there was a lot of clouds moving, and so when I did finally come up to the ridge and see the canopy of rainbow going over the temple and reaching and stretching down to the stupa where Taliesin's ceremony was taking place, was definitely, a recognition of, oh, there it is. it's given me a connection to Usher. It's given me obviously a connection to the story of Taliesin, and that's an extraordinary event and an extraordinary existence for Taliesin. So it has kind of tied me into to Taliesin's life